Maduros are crap. No, seriously, Maduros are crap. They're bad cigars for some reason. No, seriously, I just want to introduce you to this idea that Maduros are kind of new in the grand scheme of things. They're so hot now, and they've been hot for the last 5-10 years. The broadleaf, you can barely get it anymore. And I think Pete Johnson of Tatuaje was the one that really made that broadleaf like pop culture status, okay? And then the San Andreas took over after. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the fact that at one point, a little bit before the cigar boom of the late 90s, people only smoked Connecticut Shades. Macanudo was the jam. Cuban cigars, of course, and half of them were fake. It was all about that Connecticut Shade wrapper. They couldn't sell Maduro cigars. And so I think it's really interesting. I equate it to like going to like a fancy restaurant or a restaurant that thinks they're fancy and the food is okay. And then you go to a hole in the wall that's probably some ethnic spot where people barely speak English and you have trouble ordering and you get the food and it's like, wow. And it's half the price and all that stuff. So that's what Maduro was at one point, but that point is no longer. Now Maduro is, I would say 90% of you want Maduro, Maduro, Maduro. And of course, we go through the whole rainbow stuff with Privada and Farm Roll because it's important. And there are amazing cigars that are not Maduro. But I just wanted to introduce you to this idea. And I also want to make sure that I'm not embellishing on this, okay? Let's call Jack Tarano. And this guy has a history growing up, his family in the business for I don't know how long.
What's up, Brian?
Hey, Jack, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for asking. I'm here with my people, and the question that's coming up, the point that I'm bringing up is that at one point, Connecticut Shade was all anyone wanted. Is that true?
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Was Maduro looked at like it was cheap or something at one point? How does that work?
I think lighter shade was associated with mild. Darker shade was associated with a very strong cigar, which couldn't be further from the truth. So it just wasn't a popular wrapper for the longest time, and people didn't understand the sweetness that you got out of a Maduro and the different nuances that you got out of a Maduro wrapper.
Right.
And I think in the last 15, 20 years, the education level of cigar smokers has risen to where, from people like you or me or everybody in the industry has kind of educated people on the different wrappers. And
now we can't even find Maduro wrappers.
and now we're having a problem finding Maduro wrappers. Exactly.
All right, cool, man. Hey, I appreciate you taking the call for us and spur of the moment. All right.
Not a problem.
All right, lock my number in. That's my number.
You got it, brother.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. Okay, so there you have it. You heard it from an industry vet who grew up in this business, whose family has been in the business forever. No one wanted Maduros. And I just think it's really interesting. Pointless video? I don't think so. I think it's really good to know. So, okay, you had Cuban cigars, okay, in the 50s. That went out. People were still running through their supply of Cuban cigars that they had in the country already pre-embargo. Then it went to Candela wrappers. These are the green cigars. Okay, believe it or not, it was Candela or nothing. No one smoked anything else from like 58 to 74. That was it. Some of the companies that we know about that sell cigars, like in Tampa, they were one of the first Cigar of the Month clubs. Anyway, so this company made their whole living on Candela cigars. So Candela cigars were everything until about 75 or so. And then Connecticut Shade kicked in, okay? And Connecticut Shade lasted all the way up to, and this makes sense because I spoke to Izzy from Cigars on Waterford about this. In the cigar boom of the late 90s, that's when everything kind of came into play. And the reason for that was because you couldn't get cigars anywhere. They had people, bro, it looked like the Supreme store, like on a drop day, where there's a line around the block to get into a cigar shop. Cigars sold out, sold out. No one could get, you couldn't buy cigars from the manufacturers. No, that's actually how El Titan de Bronze started rolling cigars. She couldn't get cigars from anyone, so she just started making them herself. So the cigar boom, we have to thank for it introducing that Maduro can be used on fine cigars. And then since then, we've had people like Pete Johnson, who I talked about. I mean, he made the broadleaf pop. And there's a lot of other Maduros that have since, came into the game. And now, like I said to Jack, it's kind of getting hard to even get Maduros. So just know, I know that some of you feel like you only want to smoke Maduros, but I think that's part of the key about Privada and Farm Rolled is that you're getting, you're not picking these cigars. All right, we're curating the best cigars we can find for you. I don't care. I don't discriminate against the wrappers. So that's really cool that you're getting that experience. And I can't tell you how many times a month I get that email. I never smoke Maduro. I never smoke Connecticut. I never smoke Habano, but I love this. How can I get more? That kind of thing. So I think it's really cool that our coveted Maduro wrapper was at one point looked at like the cheap stuff. And I think that says a lot about a lot of different areas of taste, like food, like wine, like spirits. So, I mean, look at bourbon. It was cheap stuff made from corn just so the corn didn't rot. That's all it was. No one ever looked at this stuff like it. So that's all I'm saying, man. I'm really happy to introduce this idea to you. I think it's important for our cigar smoking journey to understand this.